along the boards.
Now in a net, shoots, and that one is knocked away by Patrick.
The puck is driven behind the Panther net. Going after it is Stager for the Monarchs.
And a solid hit by Van Vliet in the corner as Temple now controls the puck and breaks out of the zone.
Here comes Tell along the boards. He fires one top circle just wide.
And here he comes again, the Monarchs' young sensation, Blake Truman.
You can feel the electricity in the crowd when Blake gets in his zone.
It's Truman in alone on the net.
Panther goalie Tony Patrick hasn't had much success.
Now it's Little Pistachio, headmanning the puck along the
And a
boards.
thunderous hit by Walhart sends him tumbling onto the ice.
Is spun around by the Panther defense.
Jumping on the loose puck is Truman. And Patrick covers up.
Himself on the net. He shoots. He scores!
What a shot by Blake Truman.
There's a scramble in front of the Monarch net.
And Monarch goalie Tyler Ross comes up with a glove save. And he's joined by a host of players from both teams.
Comes Lawton building up Hedstein through the neutral zone. Avoids a monstrous hit by Green.
And he's finally upended by Bradford with a vicious hip check.
Truman over to Shane Thomas, breaking in all low.
He shoots. He scores!
Time is winding down now in the third period, which is 15 seconds left.
The crowd on their feet, cheering on their Monarch.
And here they come, their final rush of the game. It's Truman slicing the puck to Lawton.
Now Lawton back to Truman as he's taken out of the play.
Truman with the puck. That's it. It is over.
A one-sided affair by the score, but Temple fought all the way.
Hi, Blake Truman?
Who wants to know?
Oh, I'm Carrie Wells. Hope you don't mind if I sit down for a minute. So I see you're a classic lit major.
What, are you writing a book?
No, actually, I'm with the school paper and I'm doing a story on Madison College's new hockey super jock.
Aren't you the lucky one?
So, Blake, tell me about yourself.
This isn't going to be one of those he was born in a log cabin and walked to school every day, 6 miles uphill, both ways epics, is it?
I have to start somewhere, I'm sorry.
Well, let's just skip the trivia and get right to the important part. You know, the how did you get to be so great part.
Okay. So where were you born?
You know, in order for this to be a really good story, there needs to be some serious empathy between the writer and the subject. Here, I'll show you. Carrie, wasn't it?
Classic lit and a steel trap memory.
So tell me, Carrie, how's your love life?
Excuse me?
You heard me. You hooking up with anyone special right
I
now?
don't think that that's any of your business.
But it is. You know, the empathy thing. Creating that link between the interviewer and the interviewee. So are you?
I was, if you must know.
Was, huh? Was it serious?
Well, I thought so.
Who broke it off?
I did.
Why?
Because he wanted something I don't plan to share until I'm married.
What?
Classic lit, staggering intellect, but very bad hearing.
No, I thought I heard you say you were a,
Chaste is the word I believe you're stumbling over.
Yeah, close enough. It's just I've never met a chaste girl before.
Really? Well, it just must be your lucky day.
Let me guess, I bet you're a believer.
And you figured that out with only one question. You're so smart.
There he is. What's going on, man?
Hey!
Don't forget about the chalk talk this afternoon, all right?
Oh, yeah, man.
Yeah,
we know. We just wanted to get a closer look at your new friend over here.
Gary Wells. This is Shane Thomas, Tyler Ross, and Chase Lawton.
Pistachio?
I'm good, thank you.
Guys, I'm gonna be famous.
All right.
Yeah. Front page news, Madison Garden.
Nice.
Hey, I got some pictures of the superstar lying naked on a bearskin rug when he was just a cub.
Can I get some copies of those?
I will sell them to you.
Come on, guys.
All right, it was nice to meet you.
Bye, you guys.
We will see
See you
you
in
at the
practice,
ring,
buddy.
yeah?
Take it easy.
All right.
Count it. Take
Bye.
All right, I gotta get to the ring.
See you tonight.
Will you come to the game later?
I wasn't planning on it.
Change your plans. I'll score a goal for your story, and then later we can go to Gatsby's and have a drink. I'll tell you all about that long walk to school.
I'll think about it.
All right, well, hey, just sit close to the ice. I'll look for you. What's going on, buddy? How you doing? You got some stuff on you. Oh, no. How's it going, guys? What's going on, fellas, man?
Glad you made it.
Yo, Blake, who's the new squeeze?
That's your girl?
Seriously, dude, she's really cute. She's got those big baby deer eyes.
No. Like I told you guys, man, she's just writing a story on me for The Guardian.
That's what it is. All right,
nice,
dude, you
nice.
score more off the ice than you do on, I swear.
That's a quote for the article, dude. Take that down.
No, not this one. She's a Christian. Bible thumper, pure as the driven snow.
All right, everybody, settle down. Gather around. Listen up.
Pay attention, guys. You all played a great game last night, but Temple's a team that bounces back strong after a loss. Tonight's going to determine whether or not we deserve our #1 ranking. Ross.
What's that?
Enough. Now, this has been a team effort, and we all know that. But I'd be disingenuous if I didn't point out the obvious fact here that Blake has brought an extra dimension to the club this year. Is there anything you'd like to say to the guys, Blake?
No, Coach, just that I really glad to be skating with you guys this year. Really glad, man.
All right, now look, I want you guys to get an early dinner. Be back at the rink by 5:30. 5:30, Shane. First, we're going to go over a few plays for tonight's game.
Becky, you're late with the first part of that anthology. That story's due next Thursday. The ad file? I need that one ad file. Hello? Anytime now, kids. Thank you. Becky. Hello? No. I swear, nobody knows how to handle deadlines anymore.
Hey, come here. What are you guys doing tonight?
Well, we thought about flying to Paris, but the airport snowed in.
So why don't you come to the game with me then?
What game?
The hockey game.
I don't know anything about hockey. I know the players are kind of cute. Why?
I'm doing a story.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Madison College's Sportsplex for tonight's game between the Temple Panthers and your Madison Monarchs.
If last night's game is any indication, we should be in for a fast-paced affair this evening.
For those of you who were on another planet or simply missed it, last night the Monarchs sailed to a 6-1 thrashing of Temple.
Look for the Panthers to be in a foul mood tonight. They're looking for some revenge.
And you can bet your skates that Coach Edwards isn't going to let his Monarchs go complacent after last night's big win.
You got to remember 3 weeks ago when Temple took a similar trouncing at Baldwin on Friday night.
And reversed the upset the very next night.
Oh, I remember well.
Let's sit down now.
Tonight's clash will be the final game before the Christmas break as the Monarchs seek to hold on to first place in the Western Conference.
All right, Harry, which one is Blake?
He's right there, number 3.
How come you get all the good stories, Carrie? You know what I'm working on?
What?
Where kids are going for Christmas. It's my assignment. I'm writing about the computer upgrade in the admin office. Who's that guy in front of the net?
Oh, that's Tyler. He's the goalie.
He's cute. You said all hockey players were cute. Yeah, well, he's more cute.
We're all set to go as referee Tom Oliver gets ready to drop the puck and signals both goalies that this game is about to get underway.
Madison in their home red uniforms and Temple once again donning their ominous black sweaters for tonight's tip.
And here we go.
The opening face-off controlled by Temple.
And they fail to clear the puck. It's intercepted by Greg Smith wearing number 11 for the Monarchs and driven into the Panther zone.
Again, the action is end-to-end as both teams have had scoring chances here in the early going.
And now the play is deep into the Monarch zone as Walton goes back to retrieve the puck in circles around the back of the net.
Walton is driven into the fireboards along the goal line.
And here come the Monarchs back up the ice as this Oliver's back on her feet again. He shoots. He scores. And he's hit by two men just as he releases the pass. Here goes Brett, breaking the puck out of his own command. And a big save by Tyler Wells. The puck is chipped into the box. Here comes Filmului, regrouping with the puck at center ice.
Entering the Panthers zone along the far boards, over to Thomas.
Now here's Thomas trying to stuff the puck between the pads to Osaki. As it trickles this wide of the net.
Now tripping from the top of the circle. He shoots.
He scores!
What a move by Truman, dipping his shoulder to deep Osaki and flipping the puck over his shoulder and into the net.
Monarchs win! Monarchs win!
And Madison will head to the Christmas break in first place with this big weekend sweep over Temple. Good night and Merry Christmas, everybody.
A wellspring of talent, this place called Gatsby's.
Oh, cool. Just might be that missing link you paleontologists are always talking about. Oh, wait, you gotta watch this.
Is that a trick?
No, that's for real.
I gotta go take a leak.
Hey, Bull, baby. Bull. When you go in the bathroom and you eat that little white mint in the urinal, it's gonna taste like bad cottage cheese. Just a warning, bro. I got your back in the...
Oh, that, yeah.
Good tip. Oh, Blake. Good game.
Thanks, Bull. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Are you okay? Tyler, are you okay?
Ladies. These puck smackers, they're not doing it for you. I know that's true. How about you come over here and have a beer with some real men?
Why don't you stick tiny and get out of here, all right?
Blake, funny one. You know, hockey, that's a game for fairies.
This is so educational. You know, you guys almost make me a believer.
Believer in what?
Darwin. I mean, you guys actually make me think that some men did devolve from apes.
From monkeys.
Like from the zoo.
Nice. Very, very nice.
We don't even know these ladies.
Oh, that. Rita?
Rita, Chase, nice to meet you.
I'm Shane. Nice to meet you. You should ask him to eat a chip.
Oh, do you want something to drink?
Hey, yeah, I'll have a diet Sprite, please.
You guys want something to drink?
I'll take a Coke. I'll have what he's having.
Actually, Carrie's gonna change her order to wine because that's what Jesus drank. Thank you.
Thank you, Tyler. I am actually aware of this fact, but I happen to like the taste of Sprite better.
Oh, can I touch your hand then? Because I've never touched purity before.
I say I've been critiqued.
Just calling it the way I see it, that's all.
Seriously, Carrie, you seem like an intelligent girl. You don't really believe in that religious hokey pokey, do you?
Dude, that hokey pokey was out the door like bajillions of years ago, right?
Like the first stuff in the beginning of the Bible.
The Genesis part.
The Genesis part, yeah. The heaven and the earth created in 6 days. 6 days, it was a quadrillion at least.
They have like a pile of dead dinosaur bones to prove that.
Yeah, you believe whatever you want to believe, but
religion is only for people on death row or little old ladies with lots of cats.
Whoa, yeah. Present company excluded.
Thank you.
the Bible's a fantasy, like a really old Harry Potter.
Harry Potter?
Well, I happen to see things a little bit differently.
Well, that being what?
Well, I believe that science will catch up with the truth of the Bible one day. Doesn't really seem like we're gonna get much interviewing done tonight, so can I talk to you?
Well, I guess that puts us in our place. Well, all we know about science.
Excuse me.
Right, little pistachio?
I have a present for you, Michelle.
Yeah?
It's a pistachio.
Nobody wants your pistachios, Chase. Always carries them.
I always do, don't I?
It's his thing.
It's my thing.
The team calls it Little Pistachio.
Why?
Because he's nuts. Not as big as full-grown pistachio.
Come to church with me tomorrow.
I don't think so.
Why not? What harm could it do?
I don't know, I just I don't want to.
It's the church at the corner of Lafayette and 3rd. Starts at 10 a.m. and I'll meet you outside.
I gotta go, but I'll think about it. I gotta go. I gotta go.
Dude, no, whoa, don't, what? What? No.
I gotta meet somebody.
All right, man. All right, what's your name? Just tell me your name. But have fun on your date. Blake's got more girls than a dog's got fleas, and you can go to the Humane Society and count that. It's a promise.
Charming.
Hi, bro.
Are you gonna be staying tonight, Blake?
No, not tonight. Are there any changes?
No, nothing.
Thanks.
I almost give up on you.
I almost didn't come.
We don't bite. Really.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was on the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God hovered over the face of the earth. Genesis is a book that answers most, if not all, of the basic questions of human life. Genesis, in some ways, is almost philosophical. It is the Jewish and the Christian answer to the origins of human life. Almost every thinking person in virtually every culture around this planet has at some point in their lives asked themselves this question: where did the world come from? Now, if you are attentive to your surroundings, if you notice how the world changes and develops, then at some point you must have wondered about this. The sheer size of the universe compared to the minute detail of a DNA strand amazes me. Think about that for a minute. Some night, drive out of the city away from the lights and look up at the night sky. Millions of stars, too many even to take in. Lights in the sky so far away that their distances are almost incomprehensible to us. And then the amazing detail. The microscopic detail of a strand of DNA that forms the basic structure of a human being. All the strands and parts in place, and each contributing to the formation of an individual human person. Genesis is not an easy book to understand, and that is a problem for you and I. We are post-Enlightenment people. We've been trained, whether we realize it or not, to think scientifically.
Mom, is Dad coming with us to church today?
No, sweetheart, not today. Daddy's going to Alaska. He's going to help some people try to put together a mining deal. He's going to help them raise the money.
We want to know the dates and the weights. We want to know the distances and the times. But the author of Genesis is much more interested in the big picture of life. In the book of Genesis, we're going to see the basics of human life lived in relationship to God. We're going to see that God created the universe. We're going to ask ourselves, did God create our planet and everything in it? We're going to be looking at such questions in the coming weeks and see how Genesis answers them. For today, though, let us close in prayer. Lord, we pray that you bless us and keep us. Lord, make your face to shine upon us and be gracious unto us. turn your face toward us and give us peace. Amen.
Have you eaten breakfast yet?
No.
There's a cafe a little bit down the way that I usually go to. We can grab something to eat and continue my interview.
Okay. You know, I thought we'd see your parents in church this morning.
Oh, no, they were there. You'd actually like my dad. He's all into like guns and weightlifting and all that manly stuff. So, you have any plans for Christmas?
Well, I mean, that's still a week away yet. I haven't really given it much thought. You know, I was wondering about the group prayer at the end of the service. I mean, does it work better if more people do it?
What do you mean?
I mean, does God pay more attention to a lot of people asking for something rather than just one?
God hears everyone's prayers.
It's kind of like a pack of K Street lobbyists converging on a congressman.
I didn't know you were political.
Yeah, well, I'm not. It's just this image I've conjured up of all these people bombarding God, trying to get him to do what they want.
I don't think it works that way.
I don't think it works at all. So what's your major?
I'm a double major, actually. Journalism and paleontology.
Christian paleontologist. That's somewhat of an oxymoron, isn't it?
I don't think so. Believe it or not, you can actually believe in the Bible and science.
If you say so.
I really, really like paleontology a lot. I just don't really know what I'm going to do with it once I graduate.
So you got a second fallback major, something practical like journalism.
Exactly. You know, someone like you with an engineer's mind would really like paleontology. You should monitor my class.
It's Tyler who's into the dinosaur bones.
That reminds me. Last night at Gatsby's, you were the one who said I was a paleontology major. How'd you know that?
I looked you up on the school online directory. I had to make sure you were legit.
I see.
Oh, Charles Dickens Coffee Shop. That's an appropriate place for a reporter to hang out.
Been here before?
No, but I assume it's named after the same place in London that Charles Dickens kept offices in the late 1860s.
Impressive. A knowledge of literature other than popular comic books.
See, if you're not going to listen, then I'm not. No, I'm not going to help you because you're not listening. No,
No, I
fine.
want you to meet some
done,
people.
whatever. Oh, hey, high five.
Hey. Blake, I'd like you to meet my brother Mark and his fellow physics whizzes Lin Chen and J.T. Bachner.
Real honor to meet you, Mr. Truman.
Just Blake.
Not much of a hockey fan until this year. You brought a real spark to the team.
We were at the game last night. Congratulations.
It locks up first place, doesn't it?
For the time being. I mean, there's a lot of season left, so.
Please, sit down.
We don't want to intrude.
No, don't be silly. This will be fun. Sit down.
So I was hoping I would see you in church this morning, Mark.
Oh, she bugs me about this every week. I leave religion to Carrie and my dad. For me, science answers all the big questions.
Except for what happened before 1 to the minus 43rd of a
It's
second.
1 times 10 to the minus, and religion doesn't have an answer for that either.
Actually, it does, but you don't want to listen.
It's not something you can prove through empirical analysis.
Mark is one of those people that doesn't believe anything is real unless you can put it in a test tube and shake it around.
Whatever.
Mark is a good physicist, but he's a real genius in movie history. Go on, Blake. Ask him anything.
All right, Mark. 1940 sports movie Gary Cooper.
Pride of the Yankees. Good choice. Starring Cooper, Teresa Wright, Walter Brennan, and?
Dan Duryea.
Yes, produced by Samuel Goldwyn, directed by Sam Wood, distributed by RKO Pictures, with a cameo by Babe Ruth, and it opened in New York July 14th, 1942.
How much popcorn did it sell in Biloxi in its 3rd week of play there?
I don't know.
See, he's not really as smart as he thinks.
Hey, Shane.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good. What's going on?
Hey guys, this is Shane, Blake's friend. Shane, I'd like you to meet my brother Mark and his fellow housemates, Lynn and JT.
Hey, it's nice to meet you.
Friend of Blake's and also a pretty darn good right winger on the ice. Great game last night, Shane.
Thanks.
Would you care to join us for some breakfast?
Thanks, but no. I just came here, get a cup of coffee. I'm helping Tyler with his math assignments. He's in the fractions now, and he's a bit stumped.
I'll catch you at the house in a couple hours.
Oh, okay. All right. Bye.
See ya. Are you guys roommates?
Yeah, he rented a room at my mom's house.
Cool.
Mark, what kind of physics do you study?
Astrophysics, minor in quantum field theory. JT is primarily molecular and atomic physics, and Lynn is specializing in general relativity and gravity theory.
Three pretty exciting companions for a New Year's Eve party, right? Oh, hi.
Hey, Pops.
Oh, hey.
Oh, are you?
Blake, I'd like to introduce you to my dad.
You're...
I wanted to introduce you at the church, but you were late. Meet the Reverend Jerry Wells.
You look a little different without the robes on.
Yeah, you look a little different without your uniform on.
That was an interesting sermon today, Reverend.
Oh, Jerry, please. And Blake, I'm a huge fan. Carrie tells me that she's writing a story about you.
She's trying. I haven't been very cooperative.
Speaking of my story, why don't we move over there so I can actually get to work?
Actually, I wanted to ask Mark about quantum entanglement and Schrodinger's cat.
Come, please.
Carrie, you gonna be home for dinner tonight?
Yeah, I'll be there at 6.
It was nice meeting you all.
Good to meet you.
How did you know about quantum entanglement and Schrodinger's cat?
I didn't. I saw it on TV last week.
Clever you. Okay, so let's see what we've got so far. You were born in a log cabin. You walked 6 miles to school and back every day, uphill both ways. Then you went on to become a nude model, and Chase has me some pictures coming. And then you became a super hockey player for Madison College.
Sounds pretty good so far.
So I know you're an engineering major, which I found out from the online directory, but I'm sure my publisher would like a few more details here and there. So why don't you tell me a little bit more about that log cabin?
It's all based on Einstein's theory of relativity and time dilation. There's two brothers, and one of them is 23 years old, and he's an astronaut. And there's a younger brother, and he's 16, and his older brother is always watching out for him. And the older brother is put on the first mission to the star Proxima Centauri, 4.2 light years away. Now, this mission takes 20 years, Earth time.
Mark, please, I can't see through you here.
Ah, okay, fine. But for the astronaut, when he returns to Earth, only 4 years have passed. So he's like, what, 27 now? But the younger brother who stayed on Earth, 20 years have passed for him, and he's now 36. So now the younger brother is now 9 years older than his older brother, and...
How can he be 9 years older than...
I'll just tell you why. He's a police detective, and he's turned into one of those tough guy, streetwise, kind of seeing it all kind of cops. And he has to shepherd his now younger, older brother, who has returned to this world that is so far different than what he knew. What do you think, huh? Make a good TV show or not?
Younger, older brother? Couldn't it just be that he goes back in time and then he, I don't know, he knows things that other people don't know?
They did that already. Quantum Leap, Scott Bakula, he played Samuel Beckett. It was created by Donald Belisario and was on NBC from March 89 to May 93. Besides, you can't travel back in time. But in the starship headed to Proxima Centauri, traveling near the speed of light, time actually moves much slower than it does on Earth during the same time period, and that is time dilation. It's not that time seems to pass more slowly in the starship, it actually does. 4 years pass in the starship, 20 years pass on Earth. That is proven science, and it is true.
Come on, guys, dinner's ready.
Can we just wait until I see how this call turns out?
No, now. I made baked ziti and sausage casserole, and I don't want it to get cold.
Just put it on the TiVo and record it, Dad.
All right. If it were anything other than your mom's casserole, we'd watch the rest of the game.
Yeah, right.
Random verse time, Carrie.
Okay. Before the mountains were brought forth, or ever thou hast formed the earth and the world, even from everlasting to everlasting, thou art God. Thou turnest man to destruction, and sayest, Return, ye children of men. For 1,000 years in thy sight are but as yesterday when it is past, and as a watch in the night.
Psalm 90. Thank you. Let's pray. For these gifts we are about to receive, we give you thanks. Amen. Pass the casserole.
Let's tell the doctor what we want to do. Go ahead, you tell.
I'm gonna put the time on this.
It's already been signed.
So, as we've seen, life first developed here on Earth much earlier than previously thought. In fact, right after the first water appeared 3.5 billion years ago. As attested to by the fossils of stromatolites at Warrawuna, Australia. Now, this little fact creates something of a problem for the most simplistic of the evolutionary interpretations, which rely on billions of years for the first single-celled animal forms to evolve, and that is purely by chance. Well, I'm going to leave you on that note, and that completes our review of the Ediacaran era. So we will move right on to the Cambrian, or Cambrian era. This era is often referred to as the Cambrian explosion, reflecting the rapid, sudden appearance of most major complex animals around 530 million years ago, and the accompanying wide diversification of other organisms such as phytoplankton, calcium microbes, and so forth. Now, Charles Darwin, you remember him, parenthetically, he considered this sudden proliferation of animal life with little or no antecedent to be the single greatest threat to his theory of evolution, to the point that he included an entire chapter in The Origin of the Species to this problem. Now, why am I not surprised Carrie would have something to add to this?
Well, it seems to me that this sudden expansion of life gives a clear example of order emerging from chaos. And left to nature itself, this never happens. Order does not emerge from chaos. Chaos devolves into greater chaos.
Okay, I'd agree with that assessment.
And then doesn't this lend credence to the argument for a watchmaker? A creator guiding the process?
Well, I'm a scientist, Carrie, so I have to remind you that there is no scientific evidence to support the idea of a creator.
And back to the issue of order emerging from chaos, Darwin addresses this using the eye as an example, and he says, to suppose that the eye, with all its inimitable contrivances, could have been formed by natural selection seems, I freely confess, absurd in the highest possible degree.
It's very good. Carrie, why don't you just give science a chance for a while? You might be surprised by some of its answers.
Well, I love surprises.
If we may, back to the Cambrian era. Oh, and a little heads up, in the coming weeks, we're going to be reviewing the contributions of a number of men and women, going back to the British geologists like William Buckland and his detailed writings concerning dinosaur fossils.
Neanderthalian, Timothean, Adabanian, Tomian. I had no idea where he was starting.
Well, then how about we talk about something more interesting? Like some more information for my story, please?
Why not? I want to apologize for Chase and Tyler Saturday night. They were out of bounds. You have every right to believe in whatever you want.
No matter how stupid that might be.
I didn't say that.
It's okay. I'm used to it. Most people think that Christians are dim or naive and just need a crutch to get past the fear of death.
Well, I didn't say that either. I happen to know that a lot of what's in the Bible is true.
What do you?
Things like the Bronze Age and the Battle of Jericho and the Dead Sea Scrolls. I've even seen possible scientific explanations for the 10 plagues and the parting of the Red Seas, but it's really just the opening verses.
Genesis.
Yeah, Genesis. God created the heavens and the earth in 6 days. And that just isn't true. I mean, science has clearly proven it took 14 to 16 billion years. And when you open up a book and the first thing you read is untrue, it's kind of hard to take the rest of the book seriously.
So you believe that the Bible is true post-Adam?
With a lot of parables and aphorisms tossed in.
But Genesis is fiction.
Look, I think Genesis is a fable constructed by men who lived in a pre-science era trying to explain something they could have no way of understanding.
So then if I could prove to you the truth of Genesis, you would take a fresh look at the Bible?
Yeah. Yeah, you prove that science and Genesis are not in conflict, and I'll reconsider.
Fair enough. All right, back to my interview.
Shoot.
What is your favorite color?
Are you serious?
I have to have some foundation, okay?
Blue. What's yours?
I'm doing the interview.
No, but like I said Saturday, you know, there needs to be some serious empathy between the writer and the subject, and I don't feel the connection.
It's green. What's your favorite food?
Meatloaf, mashed potatoes, and gravy with green beans.
Mine's huevos rancheros. I had them one time on a trip to California. What's your favorite book? And comics don't count.
Anything by John Jakes. And you? And the Bible doesn't count.
Jane Eyre for the old. And any mystery by Sarah Andrews for the new. Favorite actor?
Gary Cooper. And for the woman, Vivian Lee.
Mine would be Denzel Washington and Janine Turner. Favorite movie?
Old or new?
Old.
Sergeant York.
New?
Open Range. You?
All time. To North Frederick.
No way.
Yes, starring Vivian Lee, Susie Parker, Geraldine Fitzgerald, and...
Gary Cooper.
Very nice.
Maybe we have a little bit more in common than I thought.
That's a scary notion, isn't it? Okay, moving in a new direction. What do you want to be when you grow up?
World chess champion.
That's an interesting goal for a hockey
Yeah, well,
super
that's
jock.
off the record.
I think you're supposed to tell me that before you say it. Don't worry, it's off the record. Why? Are you good at chess?
I played a couple of times.
So...
Look, I gotta get to class.
Well, do you think that we could pick this up again later? Deadline, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'll get a hold of you tomorrow.
You, want to see me, Tana?
How's the story on Blake Truman coming?
Little by little, but it's coming.
Did he give you anything on his mother yet?
Like what?
Her name's Beverly. I shouldn't have to do your work for you. Sorry.
45, mother of Madison College's hockey superstar.
Hey. Oh, sorry. Let's get some lunch. You, tell Billy that I need the pictures from that Florida thing now. Mm-hmm. Now!
Okay.
Chop, chop! You ever noticed that Tana's clock runs at a different speed than everyone else?
You okay, Carrie? Blake's mom is really sick.
What's wrong with her?
She has pancreatic cancer. She's in the hospital in a coma.
That's awful.
I'd like to suggest to Blake that a little faith might give him some comfort, but he's convinced that science has proven the Bible to be a fantasy.
The only comfort guys like Blake get is from smacking someone around on the ice. Don't get caught making this guy into some type of a cause, Carrie.
You're probably right.
What's he like?
He's very cynical. And he's built sort of this wall around himself. He's strong and he tries to act tough, but underneath all that, I think he's a decent person.
Carrie, girl, wake up. He's a jock. Every jock thinks the sun rises and sets in their shadow.
Anything exciting with the computer upgrade and admin?
I don't know why Tana didn't give the story to someone who knows something about computers, all this gig of this, RAM that. I have no idea what's going on.
You proved to me that science and Genesis are not in conflict.
You ever noticed that Tana's clock runs at a different speed than Tana's clock runs at a different speed?
Hello? No. It's not that time seems to pass more slowly in the starship. It actually does. 4 years pass in the starship, 20 years pass on Earth. That is proven science, and it is true.
Return, ye children of men. For 1,000 years in thy sight are but as yesterday when it is past, and as a watch in the night.
Psalm 90. Psalm 90. Psalm 90.
Greetings, sis.
Mark, I need you to figure something out for me.
You hit me one more time and I'm gonna
You're
slap
gonna do
you
nothing.
again, dude.
You'll do nothing.
I will swear. What do you live in a barn, dude? Who's gonna clean these up? It's not gonna be me.
Don't listen to anymore.
You can dine in, dude. For
Why are you studying so hard, Tyler?
Nah, he's shopping.
Shopping for what?
A girlfriend in the school directory.
Dude, you guys can laugh all you want. Check this chick out. Bink! Lisa Bonner. Why are you laughing, man? Look, we got a lot in common, dude.
Like what?
Like, she's from Springfield, Illinois, and I'm from Wheaton, which is like right there on a map. You know?
Yeah, dude, it also says that she's majoring in artificial intelligence and robotics, and she's a member of Mensa, so forget about it.
There might be something in that artificial intelligence thing, man.
Wait, what's Mensa?
It's a society of really smart people. So.
Yeah, they can handle fractions without drawing circles on paper.
No.
You should keep shopping.
Hey, what happened to that girl Rita on Saturday, Carrie's friend? I thought you hit it off.
I'll see you guys later. I'm out.
Yeah, I saw her looking at you, man.
I don't know, man. She was looking at everybody. She was the look machine that day.
I'm so sorry.
What?
I mean, about...
About what?
Nothing. No, I mean...
Betty, what is it?
I thought you knew.
Blake!
I just came from the hospital. I heard what you guys are planning on doing.
We wanted to tell you. We just couldn't find the way.
You can't do this.
We can and we must.
It's what your mother wanted.
No, you don't have the right. She's my mother.
She's our daughter and we do have the right.
Listen, when she found out that she had almost no chance to live, she wanted to avoid putting you in the position of having to decide what
I
to
want
do.
to decide. It's not what we want to do, son.
It's what she wanted. It is.
No, I won't let you do this.
Blake!
Hey, man. What's wrong? Is it your mom?
They say they can take her off life support.
Who?
My grandparents.
Can they do that?
They say they can.
You need a lawyer. I'm gonna call my brother. Hey, Dalton, it's me, Shane. Yeah, I'm fine. It's Blake. He's got a real problem. We need to see you. Okay. All right. Thanks. All right. He's out of town, but he said to be in his office tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. All right?
Thanks, man.
Wake up!
That's Mark, right?
Who else?
Jerry, wake up! I gotta talk to you right now!
What in the world, Mark?
You will never guess what I figured out.
I called Dr. Hoffer. He said my grandparents have a patient advocate form that my mother signed.
I'll prepare a petition requesting an injunction. Get us into probate court as quickly as possible, see if we can get Judge Harden.
Dalton, I don't have much money.
Don't worry about that.
No, I want to pay my way.
We'll work all that out, Blake. Right now, we need to try to block this. Now, I need you to think back. Think about anything your mother has ever said that would indicate that being taken off life support would not be what she would want.
This idea of the Big Bang all came about as a result of Einstein's theories of relativity.
One day to the next, the same. Here, on the moon, across the universe today.
It's a concept in physics we call time
Mass of
dilation.
pure plasma expanding at the speed
And
of light.
at lower normal speeds, the difference is imperceptible.
The universe did not exist.
And gravity has the same effect on time as does...
Is this idea of two different frames of reference
constitute
for an object in a zero or low gravity
cooled and expanded to a point
This
where
idea of the Big Bang all came about as a result of Einstein's theories.
temperature was in the trillions of degrees.
The universe itself, the total universe, the cosmos, that's some isolated...
Any change in the wavelength or cycle or frequency of light.
The trees and buildings and everything along the highway appear to be moving.
So, I found out his cousin is on Jeff Gordon's pit crew. And I asked him to get us a couple of pit passes for you and me. Of course, I told him you'll be happy to drag the car around the track by your teeth a few times. Sort of a promotional thing. What do you think? Blake, you haven't heard a word I said, man.
Sure I have.
Okay, so you're going to do the thing with the teeth then. Man, we can't do anything until we hear back from Dalton. Just try to relax.
No, you're right, man, you're right, but...
I know. So, I need you to do something for me.
Anything.
All right. I need you to call Carrie up and invite her to the karaoke bar tonight.
Why?
Well, you know how Tyler and Chase have been kind of hard on her, right? Well, I got something for her to make amends.
What?
It's a surprise, man. Come on, do me this favor. Hello? Okay, good, thanks. That was Dalton. He's got you on the docket to present your petition at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Thank you.
Now, the karaoke thing.
So this sets up the relative positions of the parent starship and the survey craft in respect to the event horizon.
Uh-huh. But
Hello?
we might want to establish that this is a point of no
Hi,
return.
Blake.
How quantum mechanics suggests black holes.
Yeah, I know where it is.
Hawking radiation. Or maybe how a black hole can be observed through an
Okay.
interaction with other matter.
Can I bring Michelle and Rita?
Massive and micro black holes.
Cool. Well, we'll meet you there. Okay, bye. Oh, no. I have to go. I have a meeting with my academic advisor.
See ya.
Adios.
Come on in, Carrie. I've been reviewing your transcript. GPA 3.9, A's in all your science classes, double major. Very impressive.
Thank you.
Still planning on grad school?
Yes, Professor Allard, I am.
You know you're going to need 3 letters of recommendation.
Yeah.
Well, these grades will certainly help get those letters, mine included. And as your academic advisor, mine is especially important. But I must tell you that I have some reservations.
Reservations?
Well, I notice in here that you're not very active on campus. The only extracurricular organization you belong to is Young Life College. That's a religious group, a Christian group?
It's a non-denominational group, yes.
And then you live at home with your parents. Your father's a minister in the local church. And you are quite outspoken in support of your Christian beliefs and your notion of absolute biblical truth. Carrie, we live in a postmodern world. You have the right to believe anything you want. You know, there is no conflict between science and God. There is no issue between is there a God or isn't there, or be it a Christian God or a God of any other religion. It is simply irrelevant. You know, the only reality is the reality that each of us perceives. That's what's great about living now, you know, in this era. There are no absolutes, there are no restraints, there are no restrictions. The only truth is subjective, a truth that each of us believes and that works for each of us as individuals. Now, I have no issue with your father being a minister. I think that really he serves a very important function. By giving the common folk, you know, something to fear and some sort of hope of salvation to cling to, he sort of keeps the masses under control. As Voltaire said, if God did not exist, it would be necessary to invent him. This absolute biblical truth that you speak of with such a passion, I sort of see as an insult to those of other beliefs or to those who don't believe at all. It's also insulting to the very intelligent men and women who have come to understand that life evolves through random mutation, not through some, you know, divine transcendent intervention. This absolute biblical truth of yours, Carrie, simply does not exist. All right, well, let's talk about college. Now, you really must understand that more important than a college teaching some sort of specific craft, it's more important that it teaches young men and women to serve as leaders in the New World Order.
Leaders who understand postmodern thinking.
Yes, exactly. Carrie, I mean, you have a chance to become part of something really important here. I mean, your time on campus can open doors to the ranks of the cultural elite and the leaders of the country. All you have to do is become a little more active in college affairs, you know, and mix, accept the views of others, and, you know, put aside this notion of absolute biblical truth. When I was a child, I thought like a child, I talked like a child, I reasoned like a child. And when I became a man, I put aside my childish ways.
I didn't know you were religious, Professor Allard.
What do you mean?
Quoting 1 Corinthians 13:11.
I'm not religious. You don't have to be religious to know the Bible.
Then it's Sun Tzu. Know your enemy?
Oh my gosh, you think that we're your enemy? We are trying to help you. You believe that, don't you, Carrie? We are trying to help you.
Of course.
Carrie, you have such a passion. It's a wonderful thing. It just needs to be redirected. You must accept the reality of the postmodern world. There is no truth. Truth is relative. Reason and rationality are social biases. All lifestyles, religions, and worldviews are equally valid, and the only real sin is that of criticizing someone else's views or moral choices. Think about what I'm saying, Carrie, and put aside the childish ways. Carrie, don't let this adherence to something your parents might have believed stand between you and a wonderful life, between you and a career, between you and the opportunity to serve as a member of an elite group and to help shape a brave new future. We'll plan to talk about this a bit more next week, okay? have some reservations. Put aside this notion of absolute biblical truth. Something your parents might have believed stand between you and a career.
Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer had a very shiny nose, and if you ever saw it, you'd even say it glows. All of the other reindeer used to laugh and call him names. They never let poor Rudolph join in any reindeer games. Then one foggy Christmas Eve, Santa came to say, Rudolph, with your nose so bright, won't you guide?
It's like, who wrote from you? Oh, come on, man.
You remember my friends Rita and Michelle?
Hey, what's going on?
Shane, what is the surprise?
Oh, just be patient, be patient.
I'm so anxious.
Well, you're not gonna sing, are you?
That I am.
No one seems to notice the man beside the road. He was just a ragged soldier out there in the cold. But he seemed to have a purpose only known to him as he walked along the streets that night to the town of Bethlehem. In his head he held a memory of all the wars he known. In his hand he clutched a medal for the bravery he shown. But the weight of every battle he carried in his heart. But his eyes were clear and searching for a manger in the dark. Some are born for greatness, some are born to fall. Some are bound to be forgotten, like they never lived at all. But we're all born to know him, stand before his light, like a soldier who found the king tonight. He had marched for politicians, served under their command. He had fought for all the causes he did not understand. But something deep inside him now led him on his way, with a single star to guide him to where the baby lay. He stood before the Son of God to come to pay our debt. He smiled up at the soldier that the world will soon forget. He held up his medal and said, "This for you I bring." Then he swore allegiance to the newborn baby king. Some are born for greatness, and some are born to fall. Some are bound to be forgotten, like they never lived at all. But we're all born to know him and stand before his light, like a soldier who found the king tonight. Oh yeah, like a soldier who found the king tonight.
Oh man, that was good. Thanks, man. It means a lot. I appreciate it, bro. Thanks, man.
Shane, that was so beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Did you know he could sing like that?
No, I've known him 10 years and I've never even heard him sing.
So I have a few more questions I'd like to ask you for my story. Do you think I could see you tomorrow?
I've got something in the morning, some personal stuff.
Is it with your mom? Why didn't you tell me?
Because it's a personal matter and it's not something I want in your story.
I wouldn't put it in my story if you didn't want it there, Blake.
There's more.
What?
My grandparents are trying to take her off life support. I'm going to the court in the morning to try to get an injunction to stop them.
I'll come with you.
Part of your story?
No. As your friend.
We're meeting Judge Hardin's court clerk in the conference room, eh?
Relax. Don't say anything. Just follow my lead.
We're here to see the clerk. You two stay right there.
Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
Please, have a seat. Judge Harding will be joining you in just a few moments.
Keep a seat, keep a seat. All right, we have a petition here brought by Mr. Blake Truman to enjoin his grandparents from removing life support from his mother, Beverly Truman. Mr. Thomas, you may make your argument.
Your Honor, I represent Blake Truman, who opposes both the rights of his grandparents to order this life-ending action as an action not permitted under their patient advocate agreement. He also contends this is not a decision with which his mother would concur.
Are you represented by counsel? No, Your Honor, I'm not.
Are you comfortable proceeding pro se, representing yourself without an attorney?
For what it's worth, Your Honor, I was the head of my company for 35 years.
Well, let's hear what you have to say.
We have here a patient advocate form signed by our daughter giving us the right to... giving us the...
Giving us the right to take her off life support, Your Honor.
She came to us after she was first diagnosed, and she knew that there was very little chance of her recovery, and she didn't want to be a burden to her parents and to her son.
Mr. Truman, do you have anything to add?
Your Honor, Your Honor, my mother would not have wanted this. She was always a fighter and would never give up like this. And the idea of her being a burden, it's just not true.
When did you plan to remove life support?
After Christmas, on the 28th.
Well, I'll look over this and let you know my decision tomorrow. That's all for now.
I don't want to sound like the caricature Christian girl here, but a prayer might give you some peace of mind, Blake.
No, I tried that before. My dad was in Alaska on another one of his get-rich schemes. He disappeared. My mom and I, we prayed every night. Turns out he fell into a crevasse, and they didn't pull his body out until next spring. Now tell me, what good did praying do?
Mark has something he wants to show you later today. He works at the Science Museum, you know where that is, right?
Yeah.
Think you could come by there tonight at 7:30? You too, Shane, and you can bring Chase and Tyler.
It's not really a very good day.
Come on, man. There's nothing more we can do at court.
He's really excited about this, Blake, and I honestly think you'll find it very interesting.
Will Lynn be there?
Yes, Shane, Lynn will be there. She's helping Mark with his story.
Well, come on, Blake, let's do it. Be sitting around a rec room all day watching reruns of Rawhide.
We'll be at the dinosaur exhibit. It's right when you go in the entrance. Just, will you please come?
All right.
Sorry I'm late, everybody.
Now that everybody's here, I think we can go ahead and get started. I think everybody knows my father and my sister, and these are my housemates and physics pals, Lin Chen and JT Bachner. I've also invited some others here to join us. This is Professor Campbell. He is the instructor of paleontology, and Dr. Tolley, he's the head of the Department of Astrophysics and Cosmology.
Why are we here right now? How do you spell astrophysics?
So, a few days ago, my sister asked me to check something out for her. I was a bit skeptical at first, but for the sake of the harmony of my family, I agreed. Like in most families, we don't see alike on many things. My father is a man of the cloth, and my sister followed him in that way of thinking. I myself took a different path and got wrapped up in science, physics, to be precise.
We still love him, though.
Kind of.
Thank you very much. And everyone generally accepts the fact that science and the Bible are at odds with most major issues, especially when it comes to the creation of the universe.
Genesis says the earth and the universe were created in 6 days. Science says it took some 15 or 16 billion years. The Bible seems to be at complete odds with science. It's just another religious mythology spun by the ancients to explain the unknowable.
Dad, what is the biggest doubt most people have when it comes to believing the Bible?
It's Genesis, the idea that the heavens and the earth were created in 6 days when all of science says otherwise.
Follow me.
So I think I'm like a lot of people. I believe in a creator, but the conflict between the Bible and science has kept me from a total commitment to my Jewish faith.
It's those first 6 days, the first 31 verses of the Bible, you just can't get past.
You either accept the Bible or believe science. What's the answer? Is it 6 days or 16 billion years?
You can't have it both ways.
Until now. Like I said, Carrie brought me an idea, and Lynn and JT worked with me on it, and we asked Professor Campbell and Dr. Tolley to go over what we found. Something we're now calling the Genesis Code. I think that now we can show you.
Drum roll, please.
I think the answer to the question of is the Bible right or is science right? And it's that both are absolutely correct.
This ought to be good.
Oh, it is.
So now, let's play some football! Yes, Dad. Okay, you be the quarterback right there. Dr. Tolley, you be the left end of the offensive line. Chase, you're the center. Tyler, you're the right end of the line. Lynn, you be there and be the running back. And the defensive line, Professor Campbell, Shane, and Carrie over here. Carrie, my lady. You be the left end of the line here. Okay.
I want you to get a crack at you, Tyler.
Go for it, Carrie. Blake, you be the middle linebacker, and JT, my man, you are the safety. Okay, this is good, this is good. Okay, Dad, so this is going to be... Peyton, sorry. It is going to be a running play to the right, so you're going to pitch it or lateral it over here to Lynn, okay? Here we go. Peyton Manning takes the snap. Oh, it's a pitch to Joseph Young. He's trying to turn the right corner, and oh gosh, what happened? Oh, personal foul on number Carrie.
I want to take out the red handkerchief and review that, please.
Okay, well, while the referees go under the hood, let's take a look at what happened.
What happened is Carrie punched Tyler in the heart.
I mean, the play itself. Dad! I'm sorry. Peyton.
Thank you.
Describe the play.
Well, I lateraled to my running back, and she tried to make her way around the right side of the line.
And Blake, you were the defensive linebacker. What did you see?
I tried to run around the left end of our line.
You saw it going to the right, and you saw it going to the left.
So, who's right?
We both are. We both described what we saw.
You saw the same events in different ways. Why?
I saw it from my perspective on defense, and Reverend Wells saw it from his on offense.
This is an example of two different frames of reference.
This is an essential part of what we are discussing here today.
Hey, Mark, I'm gonna need an x-ray. Can we get
how about some Gatorade instead, my friend, okay? Get out. Boom.
This is Paddington. The car is Paddington's frame of reference. From where Paddington sits, driving along the road, trees and buildings and everything along the highway all appear to be moving, while he is stationary. This is Albert. He is standing along the road. He is in a different frame of reference than Paddington, who is in his car. From Albert's frame of reference, it is Paddington who is moving.
Is this idea of two different frames of reference, with one frame accelerating in reference to another, where all this becomes interesting?
Time itself is actually different for observers in different frames of reference, when one frame is in motion relative to another.
Right, and at lower normal speeds, the difference is imperceptible.
But as the speed approaches the speed of light, the impact is overwhelming.
Follow me.
So you're saying the greater the speed within one frame of reference to another, the slower time passes in the accelerating frame?
Yes! And gravity has the same effect on time as does speed.
And see, time passes more slowly in a given frame of reference where the force of gravity is greater than in another frame with weaker gravity.
Now, how about the universe?
Scientists used to believe the universe was steady state.
Go outside at night and look up at the stars. There they are, right where they were last night and the night before and the night before that.
Steady state. The universe had always been here and always would be, forever.
And time. We all knew what time was. It was the ticking of the clock, always the same. One day to the next, the same. Here, on the moon, across the universe, today, 1,000 years ago. Let's go.
And time. Time was a constant that had nothing to do with anything else.
Time moved forward from today to tomorrow and on, always forward and at the same speed. Tick, tock, tick, tock.
And then along came Albert Einstein, and everything changed.
I knew this was gonna be a physics class. I knew it, man. Learning is rough.
Does everyone know the Big Bang Theory?
Ooh.
Yes, Tyler.
It is a TV show about two really nerdy dudes that live next door to this really hot chick. Who, it's about these two really nice guys and a really pleasant girl.
It's a great TV show, Tyler, but I'm actually talking about the other Big Bang.
We have a little computer imagery to show you what it was.
In the beginning, there was nothing. The universe did not exist. No planets or stars, not even empty space, nothing.
Not even time.
And out of this complete nothing was a flash, and a speck was formed, no bigger than a mustard seed.
In that tiny speck was all of everything that ever would be.
And that speck expanded at hundreds of millions of miles per hour.
It was a ball of pure energy, dense and massive, beyond imagination.
And the temperature was in the trillions of degrees.
A mass of pure plasma expanding at the speed of light. Everything that ever would be, I mean, the material from which everything exists today. The planets and the stars, all living things. Time and space itself was created at that moment.
And this was good news for Bible thumpers like me and Dad, because science was saying that there was a beginning, just like it says in the Bible.
Of course, the bad news was the Bible said this all happened in 6 days.
This idea of the Big Bang all came about as a result of Einstein's theories of relativity, where he established that in the physical sciences, nothing was absolute. Everything was relative to everything else.
Even time.
Time is relative to speed. It's a concept in physics we call time dilation.
I'd imagine you've all heard this example. Imagine Lynn and JT are twins living here on Earth. I know, weird, right? And Lynn boards a spaceship and flies off traveling near the speed of light to some faraway star. JT stays here on Earth. Now for Lynn, the trip takes about a year. But when she returns to Earth, she finds that JT has aged nearly 20 years. Oh no.
For me, traveling at near the speed of light, time passed more slowly than it did for JT waiting here on Earth.
Ooh, like that one W.C. Fields joke where he's like, Philadelphia, it's a wonderful town. Spent a week there one night, right?
No, it's not something that seemed to be. And it's not that her clock just ran more slowly, it's that less actual time elapsed for Lynn as she traveled near the speed of light.
Think of it this way. For an object at rest, time passes as we are accustomed. As the object begins to accelerate and as its speed approaches the speed of light, the amount of time that passes decreases.
The passage of time is relative to speed, as Lynn said, time dilation.
Are we done with all the physics stuff?
You like this next part, Tyler? Yes! Dun, 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 dun.
So this time dilation thing, it's like the Star Trek movie, right? Is that what he's saying? Like when young Spock meets old Spock.
Just like that, yeah.
That was weird.
That was so weird, but I didn't think that was a real thing. That's a movie thing, right?
No, that happens.
Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the planetarium. Please have a seat over here. Remain seated. Sentados, por favor.
Together, another visual to show you what we mean by time dilation.
We took some footage from an old sci-fi movie and created this little clip.
Please enjoy yourselves. Get comfortable and lean your seats back. Imagine this is the bridge of a starship on a mission of deep space exploration. A mission to the very center of our Milky Way galaxy, where most scientists now believe we will find a supermassive black hole. The black hole at the center of our Milky Way was once a star with a mass estimated to be some 2.5 million times that of our own sun.
When that star collapsed, all of its mass was condensed into a tiny spot in space of infinite density, the size on the scale of a grain of sand.
This is called a singularity, and the gravitational attraction it exerts is so powerful that nothing, not even light itself, can escape. Hence the name black hole.
The commander of the starship has sent one of his smaller survey craft to explore the black hole. Let's call the commander of the survey craft Captain Chen.
Can I be the commander of the starship?
Sure, why not?
Cool.
Commander Chase on the starship is watching Captain Chen on the bridge of the survey craft as it approaches the event horizon.
That's the edge.
The edge of the black hole. As Commander Chase and his helmsman look across at the bridge of the survey craft through their monitor,
looking into one frame of reference from another.
That's right. Yes.
Chase and his helmsman see the movements of Chen and her crew are slowing down. They now seem to be in slow motion. But for Captain Chen, everything is normal. She will log the results of her mission into her ship's computer and then take her survey craft back to the coordinates where she expects to find the parent starship. But it's not there.
They will hail another passing ship and experience a startling revelation.
Those to whom Captain Chen will ultimately give the report of her 1-hour survey at the edge of the black hole will be the distant descendants of her starship mate. During the 1 hour described by Captain Chen, the clocks of these descendants will have recorded the passage of thousands of years.
During what Captain Chen and her crew experienced as the passage of 1 hour at the event horizon, thousands of years have elapsed in the space they occupied prior to their trip to the black hole.
As I said earlier, this is time dilation, the effect of increased gravity slowing the passage of time, just as does speed.
For an object in a zero or low gravity environment, time passes as we are accustomed. As the force of gravity on an object increases, passage of time narrows. Time slows down. To sum it up, time is not fixed or constant.
Time, or the passage of time, is affected by speed and by gravity.
The greater the speed or the greater the force of gravity, the slower the passage of time.
There is also one more thing that affects the passage of time.
That is the stretching of space itself. Here, I could use your help, Tyler. Come here.
Ooh,
Come up here, it'll be fun. How's the chest?
I'm a little dizzy and nauseous.
Pull this up.
Looks like they finally found a way to use some of your hot air there, Tyler.
pull it up a little more. Okay, hold it there. Hold it there. Okay, now science tells us that the instant of the Big Bang, everything that ever would be the universe and anything in it,
including time and space itself,
was compressed to a speck the size of a mustard seed. Now, as the universe expands, galaxies form. So think of the black dots on the balloon as galaxies, and the balloon itself as the universe. Now notice, as the universe expands, the distance between the dots, the galaxies, it increases.
There's no more of anything. No more matter or space or time.
It's just the distance between what there is increasing.
Space itself is stretching.
And as space stretches, so does time.
Just as time is affected by speed and by gravity, it is also affected by the stretching of space.
But the stretching of space affects time from one moment to another, rather than just from one place to another.
And this brings us back to Genesis and the quandary of 6 days or 16 billion years.
Can I keep the bun?
Sure, Tyler. Now, in order to understand these first 6 days, we need to identify the frame of reference in which they unfold. How, Dad, is the story of Genesis conveyed to man?
Well, depending on who you believe, the first 5 books of the Bible, including Genesis, were given directly to Moses by God, or God inspired certain others to write those books.
So the source of the story of the first 6 days, directly or indirectly, is God.
Yes.
So Genesis is told through God's perspective, from his, scientifically speaking, frame of reference, like Peyton Manning or Blake in our football game.
Yeah, that's correct.
So, just what was God's frame of reference?
God's frame of reference when telling the story has to be somewhere not affected by local distortions.
Like speed or gravity?
Yes, and that somewhere has to be the universe itself, the total universe, the cosmos, not some isolated locality within it.
So the question is, how does time unfold in this cosmic frame of reference? How is it recorded?
To understand that, we must first define what a clock really is.
Quite simply, a clock is anything that repeats itself periodically and where the rhythm of those repeating cycles can be used to denote the passage of time. That's like straight from the dictionary. Tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock.
A clock is not something that creates time. A clock only records the passage of time.
So the cosmic clock that God uses to relate his time of creation to man is what?
The answer is simply light. Light is the only constant in the universe. It provides a method of measuring the passage of time in the cosmos.
Light can be used as a cosmic clock to measure the passage of time by any change in the wavelength or cycle or frequency of light.
The distances between the crests of the light wave.
Ding! That's right.
We'll skip all the math involved.
I mean, this, you'd like us to. I mean, I'd be happy to go through the detail.
No, we're good.
Okay, then let's just say that science has proven this by measuring the stretching of the wavelength of the light from the sun compared to the wavelength or frequency of the same light created on Earth.
The results confirm the predictions made by Einstein and by the theory of time dilation.
In order to compare time today with time at the Big Bang,
and the passage of time between then and now,
there has to be a source of light which exists today that also existed at the time of the Big Bang.
This light source was found in 1964 by accident when 2 astronomers discovered what's called cosmic background radiation, or CBR.
This is a residual radiation left over from the time of the Big Bang.
and it fills all space today as it did then.
The property of the CBR, which make it the perfect cosmic clock, is the change that has occurred in the wavelength of the decaying ash between the moment when matter first was formed following the Big Bang and now.
At that Big Bang moment, the temperature in that initial plasma mass was nearly 11 trillion degrees, and the frequency of what is now CBR corresponded.
The original frequency of the CBR was some 3 trillion cycles per second.
As the universe cooled and expanded, space stretched, and with it, the wavelength of the CBR.
Today, that CBR is cooled to only 2.73 degrees Kelvin, and the wavelength is some 3 cycles per second.
The ticking of this cosmic clock has slowed from 3 trillion cycles per second to 3 cycles per second. The stretching of space and time as the universe has expanded, in turn, stretched the distance between the wave crests of the CBR.
The passage of time just after the Big Bang occurred at a rate 1 trillion times faster than it does today.
So God telling the story of the first 6 days to Moses, he was telling it from his frame of reference.
He told it based on the passage of time reflected by the cosmic clock.
God related to Moses what happened on each of the 6 days of Genesis based on the passage of time as kept by the cosmic clock as it recorded the passage of time as it occurred.
There's a simple formula which can be used to break the rate of change in the passage of cosmic time down into steps.
But in doing this rate of change, the amount of time passing will be seen from our local frame of reference, our perspective, here on Earth today, in the future.
Yes, we will be looking back in time, measuring time by our clocks today.
Our clocks that run 1 trillion times slower than the cosmic clock just after the Big Bang.
Yeah, exactly!
With every doubling in the size of the universe from the instant of the Big Bang until the time of Adam, the stretching of the wavelength of the CBR reflects a slowing of the passage of time by 1/2.
Obviously, each doubling in the size of the universe takes longer than the previous doubling. Each doubling expansion has twice as far to go.
Whatever that means.
Now, we are going to break this universe expansion up into 6 steps.
We are calling these steps pots.
It's a term we coined meaning passages of time.
Each pot reflects the passage of time from the Big Bang to now, with each of the 6 doublings in the size of the universe and 1 trillion times stretching in the size of the universe. The first of these 6 pots, looking back and based on our time today, would reflect the passage of 8 billion years.
Let's assume Paddington was there right after the Big Bang and saw the events of the first pot as they occurred. All of that information would be wrapped up inside the coils of this slinky. The universe expands. Space and time stretch 1 trillion times. The extended distance between the coils of this slinky indicating that stretch.
And now Paddington comes up and tells Albert about the events of that first pot.
He describes these events as they took place in their original time frame, 1 day. But as Albert looks back, he sees those events from the perspective of today's clock, a clock that runs 1 trillion times slower than the original cosmic clock used by Paddington. He sees these events unfolding with the passage of 8 billion years, which reflects the stretching of space and time.
With an adjustment in the logarithmic scale, the second of the pots would reflect the passage of 4 billion years.
And then 2 billion and 1 billion and so on.
Add up the length of time reflected by these 6 pots as seen from our current perspective, and you have 15.75 billion years as the age of our universe, or 6 days as measured by the cosmic clock.
And this is a scientific observation based on proven science reflecting the same period of time as it occurred in the 2 different frames of reference. The time as it unfolded based on the cosmic clock, and the amount of time as measured by today's clocks, measured by today's time computation.
What God described to Moses and what Moses described to the next person using the passage of time are from different frames of reference, different perspective.
God telling Moses the story of the 6 days of Genesis is like Captain Chen relating the events of her 1-hour survey at the edge of the black hole to people whose clocks had marked the passage of thousands of years during the same 1-hour period.
And you might just find this to be an interesting quirk, except for one thing.
Let's look at what science says actually happened during each of these pots and compare them to the 6 days of Genesis.
Dad, if you could summarize for us the first day of Genesis.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And the earth was without form and was void. And the darkness was over the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God hovered over the surface of the waters. And God said, "Let there be light."
Are there some points that need to be clarified?
Yeah, 3 really. You need to understand something of Hebrew to understand the book of Genesis. First of all, in the ancient Hebrew language, there is no word for universe. Secondly, the waters are really representing everything that there was. And darkness is a symbol for a state of chaos.
Dr. Tolley, day 1 would have started 15.75 billion years ago and ended 7.75 billion years ago. What does science say happened on Earth during this time period?
At the instant of the Big Bang, everything that would ever be, everything that would constitute the quarks, protons, neutrons, electrons, from which everything that now exists, as well as time and space itself, were created. The Earth only existed in the form of stardust that would later congeal into the planet. As to the verse, "Let there be light," you need to go back to your Big Bang video and correct something. The name Big Bang conjures up the impression of this brilliant explosion and flash of light, like an atomic bomb. That's how this event is generally pictured, but it's not accurate. from the initial moment of creation. And as the universe initially expanded, it was a ball of plasma of such incredible heat and density and gravitational forces that no light could have escaped. Initially, there was no light at all, just a swirling opaque mass of pure energy. It was only when this primordial, primal mass had cooled and expanded to a point where the gravitational forces were reduced enough to permit electromagnetic radiation to escape that there would have been light.
So, let there be light is clearly a separate event from the initial creation in both the Bible and science?
Yes. And during the remainder of that first 8 billion year period, the early stars and galaxies formed.
Dad, day 2.
Day 2, the heavens as we know them were created, and the chaos that would eventually become the earth was separated from the rest of creation.
Dr. Tolley, cosmic clock day 2, what happened during this time period?
Our own galaxy, the Milky Way, formed, as did our sun and planet Earth in its earliest carnation.
Daddy, day 3.
The oceans and the dry land appeared, as well as the first forms of plant life.
Professor Campbell, we're in your arena now. What does science say happened on Earth between 3.75 billion years ago and 1.75 billion years ago?
Well, some 3.8 billion years ago, the Earth cooled, liquid water formed. Almost immediately, first plant and animal life, photosynthetic algae, bacteria appeared.
Back to you, Dad. Day 4.
Day 4, the sun, the moon, and the stars appeared.
Same time period, Professor. 1.75 billion years ago and 750 million years ago.
Well, initially, in the first part of this period, atmosphere on Earth would have been nearly opaque. Then with the rising concentrations of oxygen, the atmosphere would have become translucent. And then the sun, the moon, and the stars would have appeared for the first time from the surface of the Earth.
Dad, day 5.
Day 5, life is created in the oceans and the first reptiles and birds.
Professor, 750 million to 250 million.
Well, initially, sea life would have been dominant, and then came the Cambrian era. Cambrian explosion about 530 million years ago, when every species of land animal literally appeared at the same time.
So instead of a tree of life, it was more like a bush of life.
Touché, Carrie.
And the Bible in day 6?
Day 6, the land animals become dominant, and God created man in his own image.
250 million years ago into the appearance of Adam.
Well, 250 million years ago, there was a mass extinction. 90% of the life on Earth, followed by a rapid repopulation, mammals, land animals predominating, and...
That was the Permian-Triassic event. Depending on how you define them, there have been between 5 and 20 ELLIs, or extinction-level events.
Like in the Tia Leone Morgan Freeman movie, Deep Impact.
But I didn't think that was a real thing. That's a movie thing, right? No, that happens.
Anyway, about 35 million years later, around 250 million years ago, the dinosaurs appeared and dominated life on Earth for about 150 million years. Then, 65 million years ago, another ELLI, this one known as the KT extinction, killed off the dinosaurs and opened the way for mammals and birds to become the dominant land animals.
then the first hominids.
And finally, human beings as we know them today appeared. Now, isn't it true that at the time Genesis was written, there was no awareness of any of the scientific stages that you and Dr. Tolley described?
Well, at that time, Carrie, most people thought the Earth was flat.
Today, the cosmic clock continues to tick, to measure the passage of time at the level of the cosmos. And as the universe continues to expand, the rate at which it measures time continues to slow.
But that doesn't mean anything to us now. From the moment God breathed the neshama of life into Adam, when God gave man his soul, we on Earth have denoted the passage of time by our Earth-based clocks.
Where 1 second is part of 1 day, which reflects the rotation of the Earth on its axis, and a year that marks the completion of 1 Earth circuit of the sun.
You said God told the story of Genesis to Moses, or that it was written down by others inspired by the word of God, but what if there just isn't any God?
The idea that Moses or anyone else at the time Genesis was written, a time that Bob reminded us just a minute ago, when most people believed that the world was flat, could have created a story that so perfectly reflects what science has now proven to be true, all on its secular own. To believe that, for me anyway, is harder than to believe in God.
But isn't that the same thing as the old day-age argument?
No, not really. The day-age or concordist interpretation is an attempt to rationalize the Genesis story and reinterpret the words that the original authors used when they presented the 6 days of creation.
There is no science to back that up. I mean, what we are talking about here today is a result of applying proven science to the issue.
This is a scientifically derived answer to the question with no spin or subjective interpretation. So you see, science and its 15.75 billion years and the 6 days of Genesis are in complete accord. Science has proven what religious leaders have been unable to prove for thousands of years.
Spoken like the scientist you are, Mark. But in reality, science has just caught up with the truth of the Bible. Science has simply deciphered the Genesis code.
I think what I find most amazing about this is the uncanny brilliance of biblical Genesis, which is presented to us in such a way that mankind has to evolve to its current level before we're able to understand the story as it was originally written.
Question. Are we gonna have a test on any of this? Because I don't know if I'm gonna...
No, Tyler, no test.
That's it! So if you guys have any questions, we would be happy to try to answer them for you, but if not, I just thank you for coming and I bid you a good day. Boom!
Okay, I haven't the foggiest idea what he's talking about, but it sure gives me a lot to talk to that Mensa girl about. You know what I'm saying? Time dilation. She'll think I'm brilliant. This was so...
I think I'm gonna go take Albert home.
Do you think you could meet me in the morning at the rec center? Say 9:30?
Sure.
Thanks for coming, by the way. See you.
Been here all night?
Are there any changes?
Her prognosis is the same. Her vital signs are deteriorating. I know it's hard, if not impossible, for you to accept it. But it might be for the best.
I know. So I was actually looking for Blake.
Yeah, so was I, but he's not here.
Well, my story's due tomorrow, and I sort of have like a few things I have to wrap up, so maybe you can help me?
Yeah, I can try. What's up?
Well, actually, it's probably a few things I'm not going to put in the story, because I know Blake wouldn't want me to.
Ah, like what?
He told me that he wanted to be the world chess champion, but he doesn't really play chess.
He told you that, huh?
Well, I assumed that he was just being facetious, but he sounded so serious when he said it.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to beg off that one, Carrie. If he wants to tell you more, he's gonna have to do it, okay?
What about his mom? I no hope, is there?
I don't think so.
You seen her?
In the hospital? No.
He hasn't taken you to see her?
He's asked me to, but... I grew up in a rough part of Detroit. I had a little brother who was shot during a drive-by. He was in a hospital for 6 months before he died. And I was there every day, every single day. And it felt like the walls were suffocating me. Hospitals just something I can't deal with.
The church secretary said you were down here. She said you'd be okay.
Oh, absolutely. Glad to have you. You want to give it a try?
That's a little above my pay grade.
Come on, Jerry, push. Come on, Jerry, push.
That's a lot of weight. What is that, 400 pounds?
And it feels every pound of it.
I was actually hoping I could talk to you for a few minutes.
In private?
No, it doesn't have to be.
Well, Bob and I are about to take off. You care to join us?
I don't want to intrude.
Oh, you wouldn't be at all. You ever done any shooting?
Some.
Great. You'll join us then. You'll have a great time.
Come on.
Not bad.
Yeah, well, my dad taught me a 22 and a 410, and when I was 7, and I kind of worked my way up to the heavy stuff. Yeah, I was thinking about what Mark presented today, and it makes a lot of sense to me.
But?
Not his conclusions. I mean, to my engineering mind, that makes total sense. I guess I'm just reappraising my doubts about the Bible.
But somehow that just doesn't feel right.
Yeah, and that's it. I've always thought to find your own faith, it had to occur from within, something from your heart.
So, finding it through some cold scientific analysis just feels false or phony to you?
Yeah, exactly.
Blake, how somebody finds their faith is different for each person. It is finding that faith that matters, not necessarily how it comes about.
I guess I'm just trying to rationalize it all, instead of just believing in it.
Well, if God didn't want us to think, He wouldn't have given us the power of deductive reasoning. There are many, many different ways that people come to faith. Sometimes it's through their parents or their upbringing. Sometimes they have some big traumatic experience, and sometimes it's through the intellectual path. I know you feel like you should have this big epiphany, but sometimes it's a lot more mundane than that. You don't have to feel bad about that. There are all sorts of different ways to come to this conclusion.
Yeah, if somebody had to hang a label on my faith, I guess I would call it a form of theistic evolution. I mean, I'm a theist. I believe in one supreme, transcendent God.
And as an active, immanent force in the universe.
But I also believe in the dinosaurs, and I believe in the science involved in creation. I believe in microevolution, evolution within the species. I don't believe in macroevolution, one species becoming another. And as a theist, my one God is the God of Judeo-Christian tradition.
Jeez, well, remind me never to argue about dinosaurs with you.
Not bad for an egghead.
I see no problems with my beliefs or the tortured intellectual path that I have taken to my faith. However, there are some that think of me as somewhat of a pagan for my beliefs. Try that.
You know what, Bob? Anybody that would criticize the way somebody else comes to their beliefs presumes to know the mind of God, which means that either they're arrogant or, I think, perhaps blasphemous.
Hey, Dad.
Yeah?
Your career is your religion. But what if it wasn't? And what if your religion was going to cost you your career? How would you handle that?
Well, it sounds like I should have an easy answer for that, Carrie, but I don't. It's a very real dilemma, and I'd have to think very carefully about it.
Hey, what's up, man? Hey, man. You know, Kara was looking for you earlier today.
Yeah, no, I forgot.
Oh. Well, I'm gonna make myself a sandwich. Want one?
No, I'm not hungry.
Hey, what's up, Dalton? Yeah, he's here with me. Okay. Thanks. All right, the judge made a decision. We gotta be back in the courthouse in 30 minutes.
Mr. Truman, do you have anything more you can give me? I mean, anything that would indicate that your mother would no longer agree with the instructions she gave her parents under the advocate designation?
No. No, nothing specific, nothing.
Well, without any additional factual information to counter the instructions she gave to the advocate designees, I have no choice but to deny your motion for injunction. I'm sorry, son.
I'm gonna file an appeal.
Blake, honey, please let this go. Your mother does not want to live like this.
If you file an appeal, it'll just prolong things. It won't change anything, and your mother will just suffer that much longer.
I'm glad you asked, but the most important thing that you're going to find on the midterm is going to be the material that you see in chapters 1 through 7. But pay special attention to chapters 11 and 12 because of the content regarding law and crossover.
American paleontologists, including Charles Walcott.
This absolute biblical truth of yours, Carrie, simply does not exist. Don't let this adherence to something your parents might have believed stand between you and a wonderful life. Between you and a career. Between you and the opportunity to serve as a member of an elite group. And to help shape a brave new future.
More recent work of men like Harry Whittington and the Burgess Shale Farm.
Let's pick up the intensity a little bit. Good job, Todd. Come on. Keep up the tempo. You guys are looking good. You're looking good. Way to finish out here. Way to finish out. Stay with the puck. Good transitions. Good transitions here. Good job, Sam. That's what I like to see. Blake, come here, son.
I'm really sorry, Coach. It's just I gotta... Listen, Shane told me what happened earlier today. Go home, get some rest, try to pull yourself together. Godspeed, son. Thanks, Coach.
Let's go. Keep it going, guys. Let's go.
No one seems to notice the man beside the road. He was just a ragged soldier out there in the cold.
It's what your mother wanted, Blake.
It won't change anything, and your mother will just suffer that much longer.
Her prognosis is the same. Her vital signs are deteriorating.
It's what your mother wanted, Blake.
I know it's hard, but it might be for the best.
Lord, we pray that you bless us and keep us. Lord, make your face to shine upon us and be gracious unto us. Turn your face toward us and give us peace. Amen.
Some are born for greatness, and some are born to fall. Some are bound to be forgotten, like they never lived at all. But we're all born to know him and stand before his light, like a soldier found the king tonight.
There's a Professor Allett here to see you.
Thank
you. Oh, please, well, send her in, I guess.
Professor Myra Allett. So this is what the inside of a church looks like, hmm?
Yep, pretty much. Electric lights, indoor plumbing, everything except the paintings on the ceiling.
You mean like that church in Rome?
Yeah, like that church in Rome.
I came here to talk about your daughter, Carrie. I'm her academic advisor.
Carrie, yes, she's our daughter.
She has a very bright future. Do you know that?
We are very aware of that.
Did she tell you about our meeting?
She told me that when you met with her, that actually you sat down and you quoted the book of Corinthians to her. And yet a moment ago you couldn't remember the name of that church in Rome, the one with the painted ceilings, the Sistine Chapel.
Actually, I looked up that quote right before she walked into the room.
You trying to develop some kind of simpatico relationship with her?
Actually, to help make a point. Look, Mr. Wells.
Reverend Wells.
Okay, of course, Reverend Wells. I came here to ask your help with something that's very important to Carrie's future.
Okay, regarding?
Carrie's a bit too dogmatic. I appreciate the passion she has for her faith, but that kind of passion can stand in the way of her making full use of her incredible mind and of getting ahead in that world out there.
Not entirely sure I follow.
Carrie's simply too absorbed in her faith, and she is so absorbed in this notion of absolute biblical truth.
Now, hold on a minute. That's one of the reasons why her mother and I are very proud of her. But that shouldn't have anything to do with the fact that she's looking at a potential career in science.
Reverend, I know that you're a minister, and you're obviously a very well-educated man, so you surely don't believe that there are absolute truths which are always and everywhere true.
Well, of course I do. Don't you? I mean, you must. You're a scientist.
Science, yes, but I'm talking about the realm of religion and morality. I believe that each civilization determines what is right and wrong based on its local customs and beliefs, but nobody has the right to impose those beliefs on anybody else.
Sometimes I'm a little thick, so I want to make sure I absolutely understand this. When it comes to science, you believe that there are absolute truths that are always and everywhere true. But when it comes to ethics and morality, you don't think that there are any. So in other words, it's basically every culture for itself when it comes to ethics.
All I'm saying is that when it comes to morality and beliefs, it's perfectly acceptable for someone to believe that something is true for themselves, but they have no right to impose that and enforce it on anybody else, ever.
Let me ask you this. Are you familiar with this practice that occurs in some cultures around the world today called female circumcision, in which young girls are mutilated so that they never experience any sensation during sex?
I know about female circumcision. Actually, for years, I've been on the international organization that has been combating this barbaric treatment of women.
How is it that you're part of something where you impose your belief system, your understanding of right and wrong on another culture?
No, it's plain wrong. It's just plain wrong. Female circumcision is flat out wrong.
Well, so if you feel passionately about something, then that's an absolute truth.
Well, that's not exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah, but isn't that exactly why you came here today to talk to me about my daughter?
I don't think we're going to reach an agreement about this, do you?
Probably not.
Walk with me. We lost the injunction today.
I know. I saw Shane.
I think my grandparents might be right. What they want to do may be the right thing.
Taking your mom off life support?
Yeah. Dalton's drafting up an appeal. I told him I'd let him know what I want to do with it.
That's only something you can decide.
I want to ask the hockey team to pray for my mother.
There's two kinds of prayers, Blake. There's the one where you ask God to do something. And then there's the one where you acknowledge his supremacy and your own limitations.
That just sounds like an excuse why praying doesn't work.
That's not what I meant.
Can it hurt?
No. Not at all.
Carrie, what's wrong? What's bothering you?
I've been given an ultimatum by my academics advisor.
On what?
If I want a career in paleontology, I have to put my beliefs on the back shelf. Out of sight.
I remember something from the Bible. Something about the devil tempting Christ in the desert, offering him all the kingdoms if he would forsake God and worship the devil.
Thank you. Your team prayer, can I come with you?
Yeah, I'd like that.
At the arena?
Yeah.
Not me either.
Hey, Coach Edwards, can I ask you something?
Sure, what do you need, bud?
I was wondering if the hockey team could come out and pray for my mother.
They should be done getting changed. I'll bring them out, all right?
Thanks, Coach.
I asked my dad and Professor Campbell to come. I hope that's okay.
Yeah, thanks. I need all the support I can get. Like, I haven't talked to any of you except for Shane about this, but most of you probably already know. My mom's in the hospital, and she's in a pretty bad way. I don't like to ask things from people, but I need to ask something from all of you now. I want to ask you guys to pray with me. Lord, I know this isn't the way it's supposed to be done. People aren't supposed to come to you only in a time of crisis and expect you to help. I'm sorry if that's what it seems I'm doing. But I'm not asking for a miracle or for anything for myself, or to try to convince you to do anything other than what you've planned. There's no way for me to know why you do what you do. I accept that now. When kids are young, they do stupid things and say stupid things to their parents. Most of the time, they get a chance to make amends, to tell their parents they didn't really mean what they said. My father, he was always trying to make that big deal.
He was killed on one of his trips.
I told my mother the reason why he wasn't around, the reason why I didn't have a dad to play ball with like the other kids, was because of the way she treated him. And all she wanted was for him to make more money. I could tell when I said that it hurt her. That's what I wanted. I wanted to hurt her. But what I said just wasn't true. I never told her that. She worked 2 jobs and saved every penny to put me through school. And now she's in the hospital and she probably won't make it out. What I'm asking, Lord, is that somehow you let her know that I didn't mean what I said. And I'm sorry. And I appreciate everything that she sacrificed for me. It's all that I ask. She's been wonderful to me. And she just doesn't deserve to die without knowing how much I really loved her. Thank you, Lord. Amen.
Amen.
Thanks, guys.
So where are you going now?
Thought I'd stop at the hospital before I go home.
The prayer was beautiful, Blake.
I've never done anything like that. I was real close to asking your dad to do it for me.
No, you did just fine.
You know, you asked me a question a few days ago and I avoided answering it.
Why you wanted to be the world chess champion?
Yeah. For a long time now, I've felt like I've had no control over anything going on around me. And I would go down and watch these kids play chess at the rec center, and they'd have so many moves planned ahead, like their whole world was laid out on the board. And they know just what to do in response to any move their opponent would make. And I just want to have that feeling, that sense of control just once, just even if it's just for a little while. Hello? I understand. I'll be right there. It's Dr. Hoffer. So my mother took a turn for the worse. He doesn't know if she's gonna make it, so I'm gonna go.
I'm going with him.
We'll meet you there.
Blake, my dad called. Is it all right if I go?
Mark, I appreciate it.
Blake, when I called, I don't know how to explain this to you.
We're too late. She just doesn't deserve to die without knowing how much I really loved her.
A little prayer might give you some peace, Blake.
Lord, make your face to shine upon us and be gracious unto us. Turn your face toward us and give us peace. Amen. 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 Amen.
No. That's not what I meant. I'm sorry if you thought that. It's just that I don't know how to explain this to you. When I called you, I was certain that she was slipping away, but something's happened. And I don't know if this is a temporary reprieve or... Blake, your mother is awake, and her vital signs are improving.
She's asking for you, Blake.
Can we see her?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Go.
See you in church.
Hello. Yes, it is. She's awake? Oh my God. She's awake. Oh my.
Hello? Thank you. Thank you.
You okay?
I think so. I feel okay. I see you have some new friends.
Hi. I'm Carrie Wells.
Hi.
This is my brother, Mark.
Hi.
My dad, the Reverend Jerry Wells, and Professor Campbell. And yes, we are friends of Blake.
Oh, well now there are three faces I recognize. Shane, Tyler, Chase. I haven't seen you boys in quite some time.
Blake, don't stay too long. She needs a rest. We'll keep an eye on her.
Oh, you know what this reminds me of? This old Western movie I saw once. It's about a town where outlaws like Wild Bill and Billy the Kid go to die and see if they're going to heaven. And then there's a big gunfight and all the bad guys get whacked. And at the end, the stagecoach driver comes up and he says, "The creator might be tough, but he ain't blind."
That was Purgatory. It was a 1999 TNT movie. It was, Sam Shepard, Eric Roberts, and Randy Quaid. It was directed by Uli Odell, and the coach driver's name is R.G. Armstrong.
I saw that movie, Tyler. I liked it too.
Mom, I want to explain about that day. About Dad, I didn't mean...
No, Blake. Blake, I know. I know, son. I've always known.
I think perhaps we owe a word of thanks. Mrs. Truman.
Beverly.
Beverly, thank you. Do you mind?
Not in the slightest.
Let's pray. Lord, the earth is yours, and everything in it. You made the heavens and all their starry host, the earth and all that is in it. You are our refuge and our strength, our ever-present help in our trouble. Therefore we will not be afraid, because we are yours, and you are our fortress. Amen. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was without form and void, and darkness was on the face of the deep. The Spirit of God hovered over the waters, and God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. And there was evening, and there was morning, the first day. God said, "Let there be an expanse between the waters to separate water from water." And it was so. And God called the expanse heaven. And the evening and the morning were the second day. God said, "Let the waters under the heavens be gathered together into one place, and let the dry ground appear." And the gathering together of the waters he called seas, and God saw that it was good. God said, "Let the land produce vegetation, seed-bearing plants and trees that bear fruit with seed in it, according to their various kinds." And it was so. And there was evening and morning, the third day. Then God said, "Let there be lights in the heaven." And God made two great lights, one to rule the day and the lesser to rule the night, and he made the stars. And there was evening and then morning, the fourth day. God said, "Let the waters teem with an abundance of living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth and across the expanse of sky." So God created the great creatures of the sea and every living thing that moves according to its kind. And God blessed them, saying, "Be fruitful and multiply." And there was evening and there was morning, the fifth day. Then God said, "Let the land produce living creatures, livestock and wild animals, and all the creatures that move along the ground, all according to their kinds." And then God said, "Let us make man in our image, in our likeness, and let them rule over the fish of the sea and the birds of the air and the cattle. Let them rule over all the earth and over all the creatures that move along the ground." So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. And God blessed them and said unto them, "Be fruitful, increase in number, fill and subdue the earth. Rule over the fish of the sea and of the birds of the air, and over every living thing that moves on the ground." And God said, I give you every seed-bearing plant on the face of all the earth, and every tree that has fruit with seed in it. They will be yours for food. And to all the beasts of the earth and birds of the air and creatures that move on the ground, everything that has the breath of life in it, I give every green plant for food. And it was so. And God saw all that he had made, and it was very good. And there was evening, and there was morning, the sixth day.